Hey everyone! So this is going to be our last presentation for our Olive Bag weight loss program. I thought it would be appropriate to wrap it up with, learning how to navigate eating through the holidays since we're approaching a couple holidays this season. So we'll go ahead and get started. All right, so getting started, I just wanted to share, what a typical holiday feast might look like for some people. With breakfast and appetizers throughout the day, and then, a very heavy dinner, and of course, snack and dessert. Um, what's a little bit scary about this is, unfortunately, at the bottom, it says it's about 7,625 calories, which is, an awful lot. And I don't want to scare anybody or make anyone not feel like they can't enjoy their Thanksgiving or whatever holiday. Um, just because, of course, the main goal of these is to be able to celebrate with friends and family and really enjoy yourself. But I just wanted to do this to help navigate, just in case we are wanting to be a little bit more mindful and really listen to those body cues. Some people kind of struggle with Thanksgiving or other holidays that have a lot of copious amounts of food around them. It can be more stressful to them than anything. So that's kind of the whole point of this is, not to micromanage what you eat that day, but how to get through it without feeling super anxious. So starting off with some day of tips, so kind of leading up to our meal. The first things first, I don't recommend skipping breakfast. If you wake up and you're hungry, give yourself a nice nourishing breakfast. Something with fat, protein, and fiber is really going to help keep you fuller, especially if you are kind of wanting to do more of a grazing type lunch instead of, a traditional lunch. So getting that kind of combo in there would be really good. It could be some whole wheat toast with a pat of butter, maybe jam, and a hard-boiled egg or something like that. That's something, that kind of fits within that fat, protein, and fiber um, trio that will really help keep you fuller throughout the day. And then, of course, kind of backing on that, making sure you're honoring your hunger cues and not trying to skip and, go all day without eating, just because if you're doing that, when it comes time to eat dinner, you're going to be ravenous and you're going to eat more than you might typically eat. So just make sure that you're not, trying to save up too many calories, just listen to your body and, get a little snacker here or there whenever you're feeling hungry. So this one's pretty important. Stay hydrated. I know some of us might have a few cocktails or beverages throughout the day on these holidays and celebrations. So my suggestion is to just make sure, keep a nice bottle of water with you at all times. Make sure you're staying extra hydrated. Maybe drink a bottle of water with each glass of wine or each beverage just to keep you fuller and prevent you from getting dehydrated. Next is to maybe try to find new ways to incorporate joyful movement. I know sometimes on holidays we might already be up on our feet and cooking, and that essentially is also going to burn a lot of calories. But sometimes we might find ourselves just lounging on the couch, and not that that's bad because I definitely do that too. Maybe at one point you can get up and play new games with the kids, or walk around a little bit, or even after your meal, like a couple hours after, I'd say. Maybe doing like a nice little family walk around the block or something like that. Um, Definitely something that's more joyful and, nothing that's going to be too strenuous. And then this last one, I talk about some people kind of graze all day and then go into dinner. My advice there is if you find yourself grazing too much, like, every time you walk by or you're standing in the kitchen and it's just there so you're eating it, if you're becoming overwhelmed and it's kind of stressing you out that you might be eating too much, you can do one of two things. You can try to maneuver and change your environment. Maybe going into the next room and seeing what's going on in there. Maybe watch some football or something like that. Or you can, instead of kind of grazing, just get like yourself a nice little plate. Fill it with some good vegetables and fruit, and then of course your little favorite snacks on there too as well. So just don't let your environment overwhelm you too much. So now I want to share some mealtime tips. Number one, and I think this is also kind of an important mindset to have outside of holiday times as well, but try not to categorize foods as good or bad. Just try to enjoy the foods you have. Um, just having more of a neutral mindset is going to help you get through the day a little bit better. It's going to be a little bit less stressful, and you're just going to be able to enjoy yourself overall. And then, of course, you all know I love talking about mindful eating. When we are sitting around with our friends and family, try to tuck away the phone for a little bit, enjoy each other's company. Um, and on your plate, when you're going to take a bite, really savor it, taste it, put the fork down in between meals and just enjoy the food overall. Pace yourself, don't make it a race, just try to get through the meal. And like I said, just really enjoy your company overall. And this one I also think is important. It just talks about picking your favorite foods. If you don't love it, don't eat it. For example, I think like with my family, we have this traditional stuffing that they make every year, and everyone makes a huge deal out of it. It's a very traditional type thing, but it's not quite my favorite thing. I felt like in past years I have just put it on my plate because it was, the most important thing, to family and things like that. But, as I kind of came around, I was like, I really don't like it that much. And, I would honestly prefer more of my favorites, either that, like sweet potato casserole or corn casserole. Those are more things that I like better than the stuffing. So, like it says, if you don't love it, don't eat it. Just really allow yourself to eat your favorite foods that day. And then, of course, this last one, this is more of the mindful eating. Maybe once you're about like halfway through your plate, kind of do a little bit of a hunger check-in. Just kind of sit for a minute and listen to your stomach. Are you getting to that point to where you're starting to feel uncomfortable, or are you still feeling kind of hungry, or are you feeling thirsty? Just kind of listen to your cues there for a minute and just check in every once in a while. And also just don't be afraid to have leftovers. If you eat like 75% of your plate and you realize you're like super full already, let it sit there for a while. Put it in the fridge and eat it in a few hours or the next day. It's not going anywhere. So don't be afraid to have those leftovers. So, at the beginning I had showed, a typical feast, what people might eat and the amount of calories. I didn't want to show the comparison of a lower fat feast. As you can see, this one still has quite a bit of calories, but it's just kind of realistic for when we eat a lot those days. The only thing I don't like about this per se is that the breakfast doesn't have a good source of protein in there. So like I said, the addition of the fiber, fat, and protein are really going to help keep you full. So I'm just kind of sticking with that mentality. If you're really super worried about just wanting to eat healthy that day, some suggestions would be to just aim for, a serving of a fruit or vegetable with each snack you have or meal that you have, of course. As far as portion sizes, I usually recommend, there we go. The size of your palm is probably about, a good average size serving. And then, of course, to just be wary of condiments and, sugary beverages throughout the day. Alcoholic beverages can have a lot of sugar in them as well. Like if you're doing a cranberry cocktail, maybe try to find a cranberry juice that's a little bit lower in sugar, maybe a little bit lighter in calories. Just kind of like little changes like that can kind of help lower those calories that we have in. Or, watching about how much gravy we're pouring over certain things and things like that. But those are just a few, tips and tricks that might help lower that number of calories just a little bit. So I did just want to share some cute little healthy appetizers that I have found. Over here we have a caprese board, and of course you don't have to make that into a super fancy shape. I just thought it was cute, but you could also put these ingredients on skewers. It's just like fresh mozzarella with tomato slices, basil, and some balsamic glaze. And then of course next I have a cute little veggie board. There are so many different ideas out there on how to get creative with these, and of course you can do it with fruit as well. Right in the middle, I know this one's different, but you know, maybe you can try spicing up a little bit of popcorn. This says some maple gingerbread popcorn, which sounds delicious. You know, popcorn is a whole grain, and it's usually a little bit lighter in calories, especially if it's air popped and we don't add in a bunch of butter and things like that to it. When I do it at home, I air pop mine and I add a little bit of some tomato powder to it, which I know sounds kind of weird, but it gives us this great savory flavor, and it's also going to be more filling for me than kind of like snacking on a bag of chips or something like that. So it's different, but still fun, cute idea. Then we have some roasted Brussels sprouts next. I thought those kind of looked like also something that could replace some chips or something like that. Not quite sure about the dip, but it looks delicious. As far as dips, if you're kind of wanting to cut back some calories there, some like low-fat sour cream or Greek yogurt is a really good replacement, especially if you have a fruit tray. I know it comes with that delicious like pink sauce, which I don't know if it's yogurt or not, but if you replace it with kind of like a low sugar yogurt and things like that, that can save some calories and even give you a little bit of protein in there too. Moving on to this one, I thought this one was fun just because hummus, I feel like sometimes it can be forgot as an appetizer, and there are so many different like recipes and ways you can create hummus. And this one's very kind of like holiday appropriate, but looks like they took some hummus and, you know, probably threw in some roasted butternut squash in there and topped it with some pepitas and some pomegranate seeds. But that's also, you know, a fun dip that'll get you some protein in as well. So this was a very quick presentation, but I feel like most of us know how to navigate through the holidays pretty well. I just wanted to give a few gentle tips and reminders out there for everyone. This is going to be our last program, and while I have you guys, I just wanted to say thank you all so much for joining in. I think everyone did a great job. Overall, we collectively, as a group, lost about 56 pounds, which is quite a bit. You know, so I'm super proud of all of you. And if you didn't quite get to see the results you wanted, still please be super proud of yourself. Maybe you picked up a new healthy habit or learned how to do something a little bit different. Of course, I'm always going to be here too if anyone wants to continue their weight loss journey or needs some advice here or there. I'll always be right here. Other than that, you know, going on into the holidays, I hope everyone does have great holidays and a great rest of the year. But all right, I'll see you guys around.